I left my wife because she wanted me to be healthier. When I married my wife, we did everything together and supported each other with everything. If I had a hobby, she'd try it out. If she was interested in something new, I'd give it a shot too. We were always on the same page. One of our biggest shared passions was barbecue. I wasn't just a casual griller. I took it seriously. I entered competitions, had my homemade rubs, and spent entire weekends perfecting my smoked brisket. My wife loved it as much as I did. She used to help prep the meats, taste test marinades, and even talk about getting a bigger smoker someday. It was our thing. Then she joined a Pilates class and made a new friend named Lisa. At first, I thought it was great that she had someone to work out with. Lisa was one of those ultra health conscious people who talked about things like gut health and toxins, like she had a PhD in nutrition. My wife started spending more time with her, which didn't bother me at first. Everyone needs friends outside of their marriage. Then one night, out of nowhere, my wife told me she was becoming a vegetarian. She said Lisa had been teaching her about the health benefits and how unethical it was to eat meat. I was surprised, but I told her I supported her. I had no problem with her making that choice. I just wasn't going to change my diet. She told me that was fine, so I didn't think much of it. At first, it was just small adjustments. She started making separate meals, which wasn't a big deal. But then the comments started. If I made a steak, she would shake her head and say things like, "Do you know what that's doing to your arteries?" Or, "It's sad that people don't realize how bad this is for them." If I grilled outside, she would light candles in the house and complain about the smell. One day at the grocery store, I picked up some chicken and she reached into the cart and put it back. I laughed, thinking she was joking, but she looked at me seriously and said, "You don't need this." When I told her I was making wings for the weekend, she sighed and said she couldn't believe I was still eating something so toxic. I grabbed the chicken anyway, but she didn't talk to me for the rest of the trip. Then she started leaving books and pamphlets around the house. I'd find documentaries queued up on Netflix about the horrors of the meat industry. She would send me articles about how meat was killing people. One night, she woke me up at 2 in the morning just to tell me she had watched a video about a cow crying before it was slaughtered. She said she didn't know if she could sleep next to someone who supported that. I thought she was joking, but she wasn't. The turning point came during a backyard barbecue with friends. I had the smoker going, and everything was set up for a great afternoon. Then Lisa showed up. She stood beside my wife whispering, and then walked over to where I was flipping ribs. She made a disgusted face and said, "It's like watching someone burn flesh." I tried to ignore her, but my wife nodded and said, "I honestly don't know how you can still eat this stuff." She used to love barbecue as much as I did, and now she was acting like I was some kind of monster. After that, things got worse. She started throwing away my marinades and rubs, saying they were expired even though they weren't. She would gag dramatically if I ate bacon near her. She even started making me eat in a separate room if I had meat on my plate. Then, one day, I came home, and she was sitting in the kitchen with Lisa. They looked like they were about to stage an intervention. My wife told me she couldn't live like this anymore. She said I would stop eating meat and eat healthy with her if I really loved her. I told her she could make her own choices, but couldn't force me to change mine. That's when she said Lisa's husband became a vegetarian for her because he loved her. I was already done with the conversation, but she smiled and told me she had already helped me. She had sold all my barbecue equipment. Everything was gone. The smoker, the grill, the tools, everything I had spent years collecting and perfecting. I didn't yell, I didn't argue. I just stared at her for a long time, then grabbed my keys and walked out. The next day, I filed for divorce. People told me I was overreacting. They said I should have found a compromise. But how do you compromise with someone who keeps pushing until they take away the things that make you happy? She didn't want a husband. She wanted a project. Now I'm single, and my new smoker is even bigger than the last.